is an
I have a
example of me.
question. I've been sitting here waiting.
This is an example of me
please,
controlling a woman, and because I controlled her, she controls me. She understands how vigilant I am when we're out. I'm very protective of my woman when we're out, right? We head into a strip club. I taught her how to be vigilant, because I'm so vigilant around me, right? We pull up and I'm handing the valet guy my key. She looks up and sees something that I don't see. Instantly like, grab the keys back. Grab the keys. Snatch the key back. She gets back in the car. I get back in the car. What's going on? I just seen a security guard running around. There's something going on inside. I'm like, okay, cool. We just drove away. I ain't asked no questions.
One statement.
All right, real quick.
One statement, and I'm gonna be done with this. Hey, just because you're saying human behavior is unpredictable does not mean humans don't implement control over other humans. You do control your children. You do control your spouses.
All right, Sweetie,
you influence your children.
Hold on, y'all.
Influence is not the same as control. You will learn that when you are a parent.
Word control.
We're gonna get Sweeney's full response on the topic, and then Lucky had a question. Go ahead, Sweeney.
Sad.
No, go ahead, Lucky.
I like to listen and then kind of see where everyone is on understanding, because I'm listening to control and then I'm just like, okay, I get what Sayed is saying. If you're married to somebody, we're talking about marriage. What are reasons why you have to actively control her behavior unless you do not trust her to behave in the reflection of you when you're not around? I also want to know if you have to actively control her behavior and be controlling, is that synonymous with, okay, if a man needs you to take a picture of yourself before you go outside, is he controlling? And women should be okay with that level of where a lot of men could be when they start to operate in control based on insecurities or based on the fact that they just want to make sure everything is running the way that they want to, right? Nothing wrong with that. That's how you like it. I'm trying to figure out, when does it become unhealthy to try to monitor someone's behavior? And that maybe that's the reason why the word is a problem for women, because it's synonymous with definitions that seem like, I'm your parole officer and you need to check in with every single thing, or off with your damn head. There's a healthy way. You shouldn't have to monitor somebody you're with. If you married her, shouldn't you trust her to be a reflection of you? That's why you chose her, right?
2 words. Too much.
Coming from the same people that say, "Hey,
too much control is too much control."
Time, then if you can go 24 hours without texting me, then you just might as well stop talking to me. Here's the thing, right? We so hung up on words, and even without me being a parent, I don't have to be a parent in order to understand. Influence is not necessarily the same thing as control. It's in the definition of control, and it is a synonym to control, even though it's not the equivalent of control. I also named dominance, guidance, authority. I named all of these other things. The power of influence is the noun version of control. So regardless of how the feelings are being perpetuated about the conversation, you're still operating under the guise of control. You have some control over the situation. Your partner has certain points of control over the situation. And just because human behavior is unpredictable, just because a person doesn't necessarily abide to all of the things that you set in place or all of the things that you foresee for them, does not mean that you don't operate under a contingency of control.
I'm trying to figure. I didn't say anything about influence or have a feeling.
Oh, it wasn't.
That's what she keeps trying to use as a synonym. But she keeps trying to use it as a synonym for controlling somebody, and we're trying to explain to her it's not.
I've seen relationships where the male is the controlling force. Like, you ever have those houses where the grandfather don't really have to say too much? There's kind of an order that's already set that this is his standard. He shouldn't have to check back with the order.
Well, I would also say, let me see. With the controlling man thing, do you not think men have new forces to deal with against their own authority?
Right.
In society, meaning they got to fight social media. They have to fight the opinion of her homegirls and all of that.
Your household is what you do in your household. I think they're fighting the fact of having to explain why this is their standard. I think that's your own personal issue if you have to explain to people who don't actively be under your control as to why the people under your control is under your control. F with whoever outside of your house got a saying. But if the people in your house are saying, okay, if he's saying this is my rule, she has a choice to follow it. I don't think he should have to make her or monitor her to follow it. If she's going to do it, she
I don't
wants
think
to.
Because you
I don't
don't
think
have control,
I
it's
don't think
influence.
I don't think it's every other day you have to say something or reiterate you're the leader or whatever. However, seasons change, all right, and when seasons change, we got to gain control back from just the elements of the
All
season.
back, Tracy.
So we have to be able to realize that although that women are following men and they're under the man's control, I think if you've never seen it, you're gonna think that control is this bad thing.
Right.
We're married and my dad was the head of household. He was in control. And anything that happened out, there was nothing that happened outside of his realm of control. That doesn't mean my mom was underneath of, his fist and she couldn't do anything and shit. But there was order. And I think that women don't want to be under order. They just want to go wild. They want to do whatever they want to do. And they want to say whatever they want to say. And, they don't want the man to, question them or challenge them on those things.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's
you
like,
can be under order.
And that was my
without
point.
being
That was
controlled.
exactly my point, Precious. You actually worded it perfectly. Because my point was that if a woman is a good woman and he picks the right woman without having to control her, she is that woman. She doesn't need to feel
Right.
like she's
I got a
under
question.
control.
They
She
either
is
gonna
a
get it or they
man.
not,
That's why,
Taida.
All right,
well,
one
that's
mic.
why
One
I
mic.
specifically said
We
I
gotta
never
get
felt-
Clear
we gotta get
English.
Queenie
I
in
never,
there.
I never felt like my dad needed the reassurance. We already know he's the man of the house. We already,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
automatically
your
done.
mother,
So
it's
he
like
doesn't need like
both
you're under
human.
my control. That's not what it is, and that was
And
my
That is
there's
what
So
it is.
hold on.
when
I'm getting
Go
you
ahead,
to
first.
y'all.
And then we
that-
got to
Y'all
get to
nerves.
Queenie.
I'm not saying that my mom was perfect. There are still times where it's just like, hey, look, we gotta get back to the order. You know what I mean? You might have spent too much this week. You might have, gone, too many places. You may have stayed out a little bit too late, and not late, but it's like, hey, you said you was gonna be home about 20, 30 minutes ago. You okay? What's going on? Like, as humans, you always have to regain the order. Now, if you have to regain it too much with the woman, then she doesn't really want to be underneath of your covering. But you can't say that people aren't going to have to be straightened out every once and again. It's just the man is always going to have order in a home, and when he sees that order is not being followed or is not going the right way, he's going to steer it back in the right direction. Doesn't mean he's going to scold you, beat you, put you out in the rain. It just means he's going to add a little bit of correction, and that's good for everyone. It's good for everyone.
And
Can I
if-
say this? Like, can I say this real quick?
Wait,
Trigger mic.
can I
Trigger mic.
just-
I haven't
okay,
said nothing real
yeah,
quick.
I'm sorry,
All right,
Israel.
go ahead, Israel.
Can I add this real quick? Yo, so just real fast. Think about this. Like, a lot of people, they get this control thing and it gets all blown out of whack. Do you know that a cruise ship, in order for it to get to its destination, that it has to course correct hundreds, if not thousands of times in order to get from one place to another? An airplane, anything, and even automobiles. But what happens is, along the journey of life or along the journey of wherever you're going, there are a lot of little nuances and changes and a lot of little things, subtle here, subtle there. And if you do not bring those things into subjection, a little bit upon a little bit upon a little bit becomes a big thing after a while. So there has to be some sort of checks and balances. There has to be some sort of operation in which you check in and you get instruction, direction, so that you can know where you're going. That's all I'm saying.